Hey YouTube, KD2ETP here, and now that I've had the FT991A for a little while, I just wanted to go over some things that I like and some things that I don't like. So right away, we'll start off with the pan adapter feature on this. Not great. It does work. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal to me, but I can understand why people don't like the pan adapter on there. Not nearly as good as on the FT710, for instance, and I'm sure some of the other newer radios out there. But like I said, it's not that big of a radio or deal to me because of having so much in this radio. And then the second thing that I didn't care for is the handle on the side, which let me see if I can spin it around. I know everybody in a lot of the videos, they make a big deal about it coming with a handle, but this handle is actually let's say a POS as far as I'm concerned. It's just a piece of plastic stuffed in there, and to be honest with you, man, it is hard to get your fingers into. So I'm not a big fan of that handle. I think it's a cheap handle they threw on there. But again, another one that's really not that big of a deal for me. I'm not really sure any of my radios I ever used any handles on. I would just grab them. So I like the layout of the radio. I think it's laid out pretty well. I've had no issues with that. It's a little complicated as far as the menus, and there's just a lot of stuff because it having the 2 meters and 440 on there, so you got repeater capabilities and C4 FM, but it's relatively intuitive. I do like the quick menu here that you can go through, and there's a lot of things on these quick menus that you can get right off the front of the radio without having to go to the main menu button right here. I think the VFO is nice. It feels nice and weighted, and I do like the fact that you can adjust it. There are times when that's good to have, like especially like a field day. Sometimes I do like to tighten it up so that when you're messing around with other things on the radio around the button that you don't knock the button accidentally and switch it off frequency without using the lock button, let's say. So the knobs and everything feel pretty good. So far, so good. I've been playing around with the parametric equalizer. I don't know if you saw that other video that I did where you can use the memories on here to help you get that adjusted. So I'm still playing around with that. Just trying to figure out the best sound and everything. And so far, I've had good reports on it anyways. Actually, I had good reports saying that the sound was good even before I did anything to the parametric equalizer. So, and that was running off the MH31 microphone that comes with it. So I'm sure in the future I'll get some type of desk mic for it. And probably not spend the money on the M1 like I did for the 710, but something similar. Anyways, maybe I'll get the I think it's an M100 or whatever, which is pretty much the same mic without the equalizer and everything built into the base of it. But I don't know. We'll see. That's down the road. Right now, the setup that I have, I'm not really that concerned with that. I do like the fact that, for instance, you have the headphones on the front, which is pretty common in most radios, but in the key as well. So if you're a CW, someday I hope to get into that, you don't have to go to the back of the radio to plug in your key, which is kind of a nice feature if you're a CW guy. And I think that's helpful. I think it'd be much easier that if you wanted to use it regularly, you could just use it. And then if you wanted to do CW, you could just plug it in right in the front. And then you're not messing around, having to pull your radio out. I do like some of the little displays up here. It's kind of interesting. You can see that if you push the fast for the VFO, the fast light comes on, the lock light there. And then these light up for your memory or your VFOs. I can switch that here. So now I'm on VFOA, and you can see that there's a green and a red. That means I'm transmitting and receiving on this VFO. you can split that up between the two VFOs. I believe. I thought I read that in the manual. I'll have to check that. I didn't try playing with it, but I believe that you can listen on one side and transmit on the other VFO, but I'll have to look at that. And I think that's why there's a red and a green there. But if I'm on VFOA, let's say, and I do try to transmit, the one and or other will go out depending on when you're transmitting. So A and B, all that stuff's pretty standard stuff in your voice memory and splits and all that. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the radio. I think it's a great radio. I think there's a lot of good features to it because it has the VHF, UHF. If I was just buying it for an HF radio, I would buy something else, to be quite honest with you. But like the FT710, like I did buy. But if you want an all-in-one radio, I think this is a pretty good option for that. These buttons down here can be changed, which is nice. So if you hit this and you go over to your swap buttons here, you just hit one of these. And that makes that one blink down there. And then if you scroll through here, you can pick whatever you want to be down there on your main display for that list. So that currently I have the meter, the RF power, the mic gain, and the sweep. I'll probably change the sweep, but I don't know. The biggest two that I like having the RF power there, and I like having the SWR meter close at hand. So there's definitely a lot going on in this radio. And like I said in the previous video, it was one of the only radios that I got that I actually thought that I needed to look in the book almost immediately to try and figure out some of the things. So I do like that, you can customize the display a little bit here. There's not that much adjustment or customizing that can be done to the screen other than colors and the colors on the scope. You can change this to the spectrum instead of the waterfall, which is, I don't know. I'll have to play around with that more. I think particularly because this scope, the way that it is, I've had it on let me see if I can figure out which one that is offhand. I forget what menu item that is. Right there. So I think the spectrum on this particular display is better than the waterfall for checking out signals. I don't know. It seems to be that it gives you a little more on the top, so you can actually see the spikes and where people are and that kind of thing a little better than the small waterfall display that it is. So it's kind of nice to have that extra feature there. I wish it kind of had the oscilloscope feature, although I think the display on this is a little too small to have that much information. And what else can I tell you about this radio? I think that's about it. I mean, it's got all the same features that every other radio has, all the filtering and stuff. The filtering is a little funky because you got to go through the menus to get to it. I do like that, like on my 710, where I have an actual knob for the filtering. That's I guess one of the drawbacks of this, but I don't know. In most cases, once you get the filtering set up, you tend to keep them where they are, except during heavy band conditions and stuff like that. But even then, I'm not sure it's that big of a deal, but we'll find out, like when I use it for field day and stuff, whether that's going to be an issue or not. So looking forward to, again, using this radio for field day. I can't wait to try to do some VHF, UHF on field day. I got a small beam that I'm going to probably set up there. Plus I have a vertical collinear, and we're going to try and make some contacts on VHF and UHF in field day this year, which I've done in the past. I did. Yeah, I have done it in the past, but with an HT and a small, just a whip antenna So it'll be interesting to try it on sideband. I've never done any sideband work. I haven't had any radio capabilities for that. But now that I got the 818 and the 991A, I have the capabilities now to do sideband on VHF and UHF, which I'm really interested in playing around with a little bit. So the 818 will be nice for some portable ops, and I got some plans for that. And this one will be more, I'm not sure, I don't know, people call these like, yes, you could definitely take these radios portable. I don't think I'd have this big giant thing sitting in my car, but that's just me. Some other people might not mind. I think it's a little too big for that. The 818 works well in my vehicle, though. That fits in there nice, just like a regular size, like a CB or a regular 2-meter 440 radio. So that's my take on the FT991A. I mean, obviously, like I said, I could go through and there's a ton of features, but it's relatively the same as all the other radios. I just wanted to kind of give you a little overview of some of the things I liked, some of the things I didn't like. I am hopefully going to, for some reason, I'm trying to get on the C4 FM, and I've had some luck on a couple of the repeaters around that are C4 FM, but I'm finding that I can't hook up to the Wires X, so I got to find out. There's one repeater here that is Wires X, and for some reason I can't connect to it, and I'm not sure if the Wires X feature is functioning on that C4 FM repeater, because I can hit the repeater. I have been able to talk to people, so if that does get back online, I'll probably do a little video on the C4 FM with the Wires X feature, which is great. That's one thing I did want to talk about. For digital modes, I kind of like the C4 FM, and I've heard D-Star is the same, but I have not used D-Star. But as opposed to DMR, if D-Star works the same way that the Fusion does, it's just a much easier setup for everybody. And I'm surprised that those two wouldn't catch on more. Now, Yaesu was smart when they put out, they were selling that repeater for so cheap. It was like $500. So there's a ton of them out there, and the Wires X could be put on relatively easy if they have internet access on those sites where those repeaters are. So I think they went about it a little bit better than ICOM with the D-Star. I think that them putting out that repeater at a extremely reasonable price was a benefit to the Fusion system. But like I said in past videos, the good part about Fusion, as opposed to DMR, where you got all these color codes, and I don't know, it's a pain, and it's a pain to get things set up. I mean, once you know how to do it, it's fine, but finding the information and the repeaters and getting all the codes and everything that you need seems to be a little trickier. Whereas with the Fusion and the Wires X, you just find a Fusion repeater, you go to it, set it to C4 FM, and you're done. And then if it's a Wires X capable one, you just hit your Wires X button, which, let me see if I can show you that real quick. Yeah, of course. Okay, so that X there, and you can see how it's not highlighted because I'm not on C4 FM. So some of your digital functions, you can see how some are lit up, some of these are lit up and some aren't. Because I'm not in C4 FM mode or digital mode, I can't, obviously it doesn't do me any good to use them, so that's why they're not lit up. But anyways, you would get on the a C4 FM repeater, you would have it in your mode would be C4 FM right here, and then you would push that Wires X button and it would connect, and it'll tell you that it connects. And then when it does, you get a list of all the rooms that are there, and you can scroll through. There's like, I don't know, 1,200 or 1,000 different rooms, and you can scroll down through, pick the one that you want. It shows you how many people are in there. It just seems much easier in the end than DMR, so I'm not sure why that's not taken off. I think the audio quality is about the same for all the digital modes. I haven't really noticed anything different. I know when Fusion first came out, I didn't like the sound. I still kind of the robotic sound of the Fusion. I don't know. And the DMR, same thing. There's still a little roboticism, let's say, with the audio on these digital modes. It's not that big of a deal, I guess, but I don't think it's as pleasing to the ear as just regular audio. So, well, anyways, that's my short take on the FT991A, now that I've had a little time to play around with it. We'll be doing some more videos later. We can go over some of the other things, just, like I did with the 710. So, you guys have a great day. Please like and subscribe, and we'll say 73.